Hello, and welcome to our course on machine learning for traders.
In this excerpt from the course, we will explore how to group the historical data of a stock into clusters based on the status of technical indicators to determine if the stock is biased towards upward or downward daily returns.
Clustering is unsupervised learning or pattern extraction, that is, without labels or targets. The algorithm simply analyzes the data and draws conclusions about how they are organized. In this case, Megan is responsible for building the model, and she faces the decision of which algorithm to use. She knows there are different algorithms for clustering, and each depends on the nature of the data and its distribution. After discarding dbScan and others, she thinks that k-means is the best choice.
K-means works well with continuous numerical data, like technical indicators. It's efficient in computation time and scalability, and it's easy to interpret and apply. But we must establish the number of clusters as an hyperparameter.
There are methods to decide the number of clusters. One of the most well-known is WCSS, or within cluster sum of squares, which measures the distance between points. In the image, the distance in WCSS are greater in the green and blue elements than in the red ones. The within cluster sum of squares. As we increase the number of clusters, becomes lower and would reach 0 if we had 503 clusters. But then it would be useless. The elbow method automatically calculates where the reduction in within cluster sum of squares is no longer worth it or, in other words, does not exceed the minimum threshold we accept. John has observed that the elbow occurs at 8 and logically asks us,
so should we use 8 clusters?
But Micah, who has more experience, adds,
the elbow method is a general criterion widely used in machine learning. I suggest that we analyze the clusters with the asymmetry of the returns of the day.
Don't be intimidated by the phrase. It simply means if a cluster has a bias towards winners or losers. That sounds interesting.
We should use skewness as a measure of the asymmetry of the distribution of returns. But be careful. Skewness alone only measures a symmetry relative to the mean. What interests us is the asymmetry, but relative to 0. So, the winners and losers, regardless of the mean.
Okay, got it. If you use Python, adjust your code.
A positive skew means the distribution has a longer tail on the right side, indicating more high-value outliers, which could suggest potential opportunities for long trades. A negative skew means the distribution has a longer tail on the left side, indicating more low-value outliers, which could suggest potential opportunities for short trades. So, although usually a 5% 10% threshold range is a good option, we are interested in a lower threshold, like 4%.
Following Micah's advice, we have adjusted the threshold or the level at which it is no longer worth reducing the within cluster sum of squares to 4%, resulting in 26 clusters. In other disciplines, this would be a very low threshold, but in ours, it is necessary. The logical conclusion for Megan is to analyze company by company, each separately, to have a model that tells us which cluster of that specific company is today and what skewness to expect. For example, Juniper Networks has 4 interesting clusters. Additionally, the percentage distribution is high in 3 of them, although very low in cluster 6, so it is discarded. When Juniper Networks is in cluster 0, 8, or 11, it will generate a bullish signal. It will not tell us where to buy and sell, but it will provide valuable information. In the case of Dollar Tree, there are several bullish clusters and also several bearish ones. This will be considered for trading. Perform the same process for each company. Each company has features in the form of technical indicators that generate a specific cluster extracted from the price patterns and historical features of that company with historical skewness. In the graph, we have ordered and presented the 5 with the highest skewness, generating bullish signals, and the 5 with the lowest skewness, generating bearish signals. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow will change, so the situation of the companies will be different, and they will be in different clusters, some skewed upwards, others downwards, and others neutral.